Hi, this is Karla Espinoza, pastry chef at Matt Houston. Thank you for your purchase of the chef kit for the coconut and cherry Semifreddo ice cream sandwiches at the Art Delicacy. The main ingredients for this recipe is the Andros coconut puree, Andros morello cherry puree, vanilla bean, and morello cherry and kirsch liqueur. The three components needed for this recipe are the cherry sauce, the cherry brownie, and the coconut and cherry semifreddo. So we're gonna start first by measuring all your ingredients for each recipe and having them separated so we can start working on a recipe. The first recipe that we're gonna make is the cherry sauce. The second recipe is going to be the cherry brownie. And while these components cool down, we're gonna work on the coconut and cherry semifreddo. And then we can freeze them, we're gonna wait, and then we can cut them, and after we can enjoy them. To make the cherry sauce, we're just going to place the cherry morello puree in a small pot with the sugar. And we're gonna whisk until the sugar has dissolved. After that, we're gonna wait until this mixture boils for 5 to 7 minutes, occasionally stirring to make sure that sugar doesn't stick at the bottom and it will burn. Once that we have boiled it for 5 minutes, we're gonna put it in another container, put it aside on the fridge, and then wait until it cools down so we can use it for our next recipe, which would be the coconut semifreddo. For our second part of the recipe, which is the cherry brownie, we're going to start by preheating our oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. In the meantime, we're going to melt our chocolate and the butter in the microwave in 30-second intervals. Right after each 30-second intervals, we're going to mix very well from the bottom to the top, and we're gonna scrape it on the sides until the chocolate and the butter are completely incorporated and melted. And then you'll get a result like this. Very liquid, but very incorporated and smooth. And then we're gonna place it on the side. After, we're going to mix the eggs and the sugar with the hand mixer or our stand mixer, and we are going to mix them until they're light and fluffy. Once our eggs are light and fluffy, we're gonna let them on the side for a really quick time. And then we're gonna scrape our vanilla bean. We're gonna split it in half first, very careful, with a paring knife. We're gonna split it in half all the way from top to bottom. And then with the paring knife, we're gonna scrape the split vanilla bean, and then we're gonna get the paste. Okay, we want to get the paste, and we're going to incorporate it in the eggs as well. You can do this step right before we mix them with the hand blender as well. It won't cause any difference in the recipe. Once that we have added the vanilla bean, we're going to incorporate our previously melted chocolate and butter. And we're gonna mix them again just until it's combined with the rest of the eggs, not more than that. Okay, finally, we're going to add the cherries, the morello cherries and kirsch liqueur. When we add these morello cherries, you can leave them either as they come whole, or you can cut them in half. I cut them in half, but either will work. So we're just gonna add them in the brownie batter. And also you can add more, or I think this is a very good amount. And then with the spatula, we are just going to incorporate them very well in the batter, okay? Until they're just mixed. And you're gonna get a mix just like this. This is still liquid, okay? If we over mix the batter, then the batter will get very dry and it will turn into a dough instead of a more liquid mixture, okay? And then we're going to transfer it to a half sheet pan lined with parchment paper. Now that we have our brownie batter here with the morella cherries, we're gonna put them in the oven at 350 for about 17 minutes. Once the brownie has cooled down completely, we're going to proceed to make the coconut and cherry semifreddo. The step number one will be to whip to soft peaks the heavy cream. I have it already semi-whipped, so I'm just gonna put it aside. You can keep it in the fridge if you wish, but we're gonna use it very soon. And the second step will be, I have here the eggs, the sugar, and the salt. We're gonna mix them, and then we're gonna put it over a water bath with hot water. You want to put a small pot with a very small amount of water at a very low temperature, medium-low heat, and then we're going to pour it over. You don't want the bottom of your bowl to touch the water, because then it will cook the eggs and we won't be able to use them for our recipe. So we're just going to make sure that the bottom of the bowl does not touch the water, okay? And then we're just going to continuously whisk until this mixture reaches 70 degrees Celsius or 170 degrees Fahrenheit. And we're just going to constantly whisk until it reaches the temperature we need. When it has reached 76 degrees Celsius, we're going to hand mix it until it's light, fluffy, and until it has cooled down. We're gonna see that it's like a meringue. We are going to transfer them to another bowl, a larger bowl, where we're going to start mixing the rest of the ingredients. We're gonna have here our eggs, and then this is our coconut puree, followed by our heavy cream. So with the spatula, we're going to incorporate it very soft. You don't want to over mix it, otherwise the mixture is going to become a very liquid, and we will lose the air of the egg mixture and the heavy cream. We're gonna set it aside shortly while we place our brownie into the mold, so then later we can pour on top this preparation. Okay, so we have our cream here, very smooth. The next step is assemble our Semifreddo ice cream sandwich. The first thing we're gonna do is to demold the brownie of this tray. So to do that, we're gonna make sure that we cut the sides of the brownie so it doesn't get stick. I always find easier when I put my brownie in the freezer for a few minutes, or in the fridge just for a few minutes, so it's easier to demold. So now that we did that, it's much easier if you have another tray. We can put it on top and we just flip it, and our brownie should come out very easy. And now we're gonna try to measure. This is my container where I am going to assemble my ice cream sandwich. So I suggest you to find something that is a little higher than the size of the thickness of the ice cream sandwich, just in case, you know, something happened. I think it's always easier to go with a little taller size. So I'm gonna try to measure it, okay, and then I'm gonna do a cut here, okay, and then on the other side. So now, as you can see, I previously put some plastic wrap on my container here. I just put a little bit of water and then I wrap it, just the surface. So I'm going to place the brownie right here at the bottom. As you can see, and it fits perfectly. Now I'm going to move here and here. I'm gonna move my crumbs. And I'm gonna pour over the brownie, my coconut semifreddo, as thick as I want it. So for my sauce, and with a spoon, I'm just going to pour some on top, just like this, okay? And with my spatula, I can just swirl a little bit. You could also add here some of the morella cherries, the whole piece. And now on top, I'm gonna place the other part of the brownie. There you go. This one I cut it a little shorter, but that's okay because at the end we're gonna trim the edges at the time of assembling it. So now that we have it here, like this, we're just gonna place it in the fridge for about 4 to 6 hours until it's frozen, and then we're ready to cut. After a few hours of setting in the freezer, finally the semifreddo is ready to be cut. So now we're just gonna take them out of the mold. It should come out very easy. If not, you can always warm it up a little bit with your hands or with a little bit of warm water. We're just going to remove the plastic, and then we're just gonna cut in as many pieces as we like. I like always cutting the edges so we have a more clean cut, and then you can totally eat that. Now that our semifreddo ice cream sandwiches are ready, we can cut them and display them however you prefer. There are many ideas on how to do it, and I'm just gonna show you a few so you can play around. I like to cut them in small triangles so it can be more bite-sized, and you can have it just as a snack or for the kids or even for friends at home. So you're gonna cut a square first, and then after you cut the squares, then you'll cut the triangles. Try to make the cut straight. That way the sandwich won't break. And remember that it needs to be completely as frozen as possible. So now we have here the small triangles. As you can see, they're very even, and you can display them however you prefer. I have here these boxes where I want to display them just like this. And you can top them with some cherries on top to make it more fun. I hope you enjoy.